Subtle skills, big results.
Welcome to the Ninja Selling Podcast. Welcome back to the Ninja Selling Podcast. Matt and Garrett are back with you again. We're going to jump right in. You can go check out the group, Ninja Selling Podcast community on Facebook. Amazing people there. If you want to check out Ninja Selling, learn more about that, go to ninjaselling.com. In the meantime, Matt, we're going to jump right in because we've already been deviated. We actually are doing back-to-back episodes today to be able to, because we had two ideas that we wanted to share. Then on the last episode, if you listen to it, we started talking about sobs. And in between that episode and this episode, which is really only about 10 minutes in virtual time here, Matt has actually tried to buy a sob in that time. And I'm like, we need to record the next episode here. And so we've now grounded Matt. He has not bought a vehicle.
Not yet.
But we're going to jump right in with the next episode here. So welcome, everybody. Welcome back, Matt.
Good to see you, sir. Welcome, everybody. Dude, let's dive in. You brought this topic up the other day. It's such a good analogy because I think this happens way too often. It happens a lot more often than we actually think.
Yeah, I watch this happen in brokerages. I watch this happen. And here's the fun part about what we get to do, Matt. When we're coaching people, we get everything. We get people, I mean, I'm not saying we're relationship coaches, but people bring stuff to the table. They've got relationships with family. They got relationships with their fellow agents in their office. They got relationships with team members in that they're working with. They've got brokerage. They've got all these elements they bring to the table. And it's interesting where people latch on to what they feel is their safety net or what they feel is their life preserver. And this is the analogy that kind of came to my mind. I was sitting the other day thinking about this, that, how many of us are floating in the ocean, holding on to a life preserver or a chunk of wood, going, this is my safety piece. Thank God I've got this life preserver. Thank God I've got this chunk of wood that I'm floating on right now. I got my hands on it. And I'm sitting here and I'm treading water, hoping somebody's going to see me, hoping that I'm going to find a piece of land out there that I can float up to. But I am looking around going, but thank God I got this. Like, I'm okay. I'm going to make it through this because I've got this thing right here. How many of us just need to put our feet down and step on and realize that this water is actually not that deep and that we can actually stand? And this thing that I've been holding on to has been kind of my false safety piece. And I'm okay. And things are going to be okay. And now that I have my feet on the ground, I can now make smart decisions and I can grow and I can take care of myself and I can go in other directions. And I think that there's so many people that we come across out here, Matt, that need to do that for themselves. They need to let go a little bit. There's an analogy that we use in Ninja Selling, which is the runner that's on the cliff. They're running along the side of the cliff and they trip and they fall. And when they trip and they fall, they roll over the edge and they're hanging onto a root. And that root, as they're hanging onto it, they look down at the water below them and the waves that are crashing and the rocks that are down below them, this huge cliff. And the story they use is this little voice all of a sudden comes into the person's head and says, let go. Let go. You're going to be okay. And the fear is of the letting go of the root, letting go of the branch. And in that story, the person lets go. And what they didn't realize is there was a ledge right below them. There was a ledge right below them that they couldn't see because they were holding onto this root so tightly. And by letting go, oh my gosh, I'm safe. I'm okay. This has been in my head a lot lately, Matt. I wanted to talk to you about it and I wanted to kind of throw some ideas around here because I watch this happen with realtors all the time in business with certain listings that they're working with that they just won't let go of. They know it's never going to sell. They know nothing's ever going to happen with it, but I got a listing. So I'm hanging on to it with everything I've got with a death grip. And it's like, no, let go. Maybe it's time to let go.
Yeah. Yeah. I think about this in two ways too, actually. Particularly when you grab onto with the root story as one, a lot of people are floating out there just wanting somebody to come save them. Mm-hmm. Like, somebody come save me. Just come save me. I can't. And then the other side of it is, I think we all are a lot smarter, we're a lot stronger, and we're a lot more capable than we even think that we are.
Yeah.
And so when you combine those two things together, it's like, one, maybe somebody's coming, but probably not. You are going to be the best person to save you. So save yourself, and to believe in yourself and know that you have the strength, you have the confidence, you have the skills. And if you don't have the skills, you have the ability to go
Learn.
build them so that you can get through whatever that you want. And as we see, I mean, we keep on bringing up this settlement thing because that's kind of the waters we're in right now. And there's no use in freaking out and waiting for somebody to come save you, because whatever happens is going to happen, right? It's going to be up to you, and deploy the things we talked about in just the last episode to be able to thrive in this. And really, guys, the water's not that deep. Just put your feet down and walk. Like, you got this. Like, the water is not that deep.
Well, and I think the interesting thing that kind of kept coming down this path for me too is that when you are holding on to something so tight, you are not necessarily looking at other options. You're not looking at other things you can learn about, other things that you can grow with, other things that are around you that would help you be maybe a different person than you thought you could be. And, it's interesting is all of a sudden you put your feet down and you're like, oh my gosh, the ground is right here. Been had my knees curled up. I've been holding onto this piece of wood, and I just extended my legs down. And all of a sudden it's like, okay, there's solid ground right here. Now that we're standing on solid ground, now you can look down in the water and you can be like, oh my gosh, and there's food here. There's things here. And I am out here in the middle of nowhere and I am trying to figure this out. But all of a sudden I realize that there are items just below me that I can eat. I can now take care of myself. I can look at things differently, and I can travel faster. All of a sudden, where I was just floating with the currents everywhere I wanted to go, that piece of land that's over there now that I can see in the distance. Oh my gosh, think of the distance I can cover now that I can use my feet and I can walk on the ground and I can get to the direction I want to go to. Like, it's not hope now that the currents are going to take me there. I can now be in control and take myself there. And I think these are all the things that you realize when you start to loosen the grip a little bit and you start to look around you and you start to take control of the situation that you're in. And I know there's a lot of realtors out there right now with the settlement that are hanging on really, 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 really tight. And I want you to let go. I'm watching a lot of people with their companies right now and I'm not telling you to go change your company, but I am watching some people hang on really tight to a company because of what the company used to be and how they used to do stuff. And I'm watching some companies make some weird decisions out there right now. And, there's some people hanging on really tight because that's who they've been. They have an identity with it. This is who they are. This is my people. These are my friends. And some of the agents out here that I'm watching right now are going, I'm letting go. I'm letting go. I'm looking around me. I'm seeing what else is available to me out here, what my next options are. And they're making moves. And I applaud people who are letting go right now. I think there's a lot of change going on. There's a lot of things happening for a lot of people. It's an interesting time, Matt.
It is. And even on the company front, I see a lot of people holding on to their own belief systems or their own, well, that must be how it goes. And when their company is being very clear, their leadership is being very clear, but they're holding on to something else that is deceiving them into saying, hey, you got to stay holding on here and floating out here, and something else will come along and save you. It's like if you're out there in the ocean, you're floating there, and a little boat comes along. It's like, hey man, come on aboard. Like, we got you. And you're like, I don't want to get on that boat. I'm going to wait for a different boat to come across. And it's like, come on, like, what are you doing? Like, there was a boat right there, and it was small enough and light enough that you should have realized it's probably not in very deep water.
Yeah.
So if you put your feet down, it gives you the ability to actually make great decisions for yourself because you can see everything too. So like you said, letting go of the branch too, couldn't see it because that person was probably looking over their back shoulder versus looking down in front of them, right? Because stay close to the wall, right?
Typically, you will focus on what you're afraid of.
Right. And so if you're holding on to the thing, you're holding on like, I can't let this go. And if you just pick your head up and look around a little bit, you're going to see all of this opportunity. We see this with people who get stuck in one deal, Garrett. People who, if you don't have a lot of business going on, you hold on to that one lead so darn tight. And you're like, I just can't let this go, when there is buyers and sellers flying around all over the place around you. And if you just let go of that lead, you would see all the opportunities. You'd see the conversations you could have that would lead to great success.
A lot of times it's price point. I watched it. That's what muddies the water the most for people with listings is like they all of a sudden, but this is the highest price point I've ever had. I'm like, and you're never going to sell it. It's a non-sellable. Like this isn't going to happen. And I hate to say it's not going to happen because everybody goes, oh, there's always an opportunity. Yeah, but there's also smart business decisions.
This may not be your opportunity. Yeah.
Yeah. There's looking at this from the outside. I watch this a lot. I hear about people who are in relationships and whether you've ever been in a bad marriage. And I'm grateful that I've had the relationship that I've had with my wife for coming up 23 years now. Oh, I've had my share of bad relationships, by the way, very unhealthy stuff over my younger years. And it's interesting is I was like, well, what made me hang on to that relationship as long as I did? We knew it was bad. I knew it was unhealthy. We were not being nice to each other. We were not respecting each other. We were not helping each other be the best people that we could possibly be. It wasn't a good environment, but we held on to it because it was better than being alone. And we kept sitting there and saying, but at least I have somebody, at least I have somebody I can call, at least I have somebody that I can talk to, even though it's not the best. And we all know it. It's painful when you break up. It's hard when you break up and there's tears on both sides. And no matter how much you're like, this person's driving me crazy, there's tears. And then all of a sudden there's this sense of renewal. And there's a sense of like, oh, like I'm now going to go out to this party with my friends. And why haven't I been here hanging out with you guys? Like you've been having all this fun over here the whole time. And they're like, well, yeah, you were hanging out in this relationship. You're a miserable man. We're waiting for you to come along. But, we're letting you you live your life, man. But we're happy to have you over here with us now. Let's have a good time. Let's go do some stuff. I watched that in relationships specifically. And you look at the pathway of a marriage and anybody who's been through a divorce, and everybody I've talked to who's done it, the relationship starts out great. You start out in love. And as this thing grows, there's a place in there where it's not good, but people hang on longer maybe than they should have. And then there's a place in there where the divorce needs to happen and it's hard and it's mean. And then there's this place on the other side where everybody who I've ever known who's gone through it goes, I can now think, I can now move, I can do things on my own. And this is where, again, it's a scary part, making changes like this. But for all of you out there, like sometimes we hang on too long.
Yeah, no doubt. So, I mean, put your feet down. If you're holding on to something too hard, put your feet down, let go. It's going to be all right. Maybe just check to make sure the water's not too deep.
I had that's like picture of somebody hanging on a log and you just kind of like extend your leg down. You're just kind of like feeling for ground with your toes, kind of like fishing around. Like,
and you're like, oh yeah, it's there. I could feel it.
What is that? Is that, oh, that's a big fish. Never mind. Okay. Like
ride the fish. Like, great. He's going places. Let me take this somewhere.
There is no bottom. There's a large shark right now.
No, but let go, guys. That's the quick hit of the day, right? So give yourself a quick assessment. If you're feeling some of these things, if you're not feeling these things, awesome, man. You're probably good to go. But if you want to be part of our community, head over to Facebook and look for the Ninja Selling Podcast. You'll find a great community there. Learn more of all the stuff of Ninja Selling over at ninjaselling.com. And thank you guys for joining us. We got plenty more episodes coming. Stay here with us. We love you guys a whole lot. And Garrett, thank you, man. And we'll catch everybody later.
Appreciate it, everybody. If you enjoyed today's episode and would like more, visit us at theninjasellingpodcast.com.
There you will also find links for more information about ninja selling and coaching. Have an incredible day.